They call me retired. My wife called me irrelevant. Her lover built his empire in my building on my code with her blessing. At the company party, I dropped my badge. He picked it up, read my name, and froze. "Does your wife know who you are?" he whispered. She knew who I was. She just forgot what I'm capable of. My name is Douglas Whitfield. I'm 57 years old, and for the last 5 years, people have assumed I've been doing nothing. They're wrong. I've been watching, waiting, building something they couldn't see because they stopped looking. 14 years ago, I built TechCore, a back-end infrastructure that powered half the financial platforms you've probably used without knowing it. Payment processing, risk assessment, fraud detection, all running on architecture I designed in a cramped garage with coffee-stained notebooks and a whiteboard covered in algorithms. I scaled it, sold it for $340 million, and walked away. No press releases, no victory laps, just a quiet exit and a life I thought would be simpler. Catherine, my wife of 30 years, loved the money, hated the quiet. She'd built her identity around being married to someone important, someone moving. When I stopped moving, she started looking elsewhere for that energy. Enter Vincent Price, her new boss at Velocity Systems, a startup promising to revolutionize financial technology with AI-powered fraud detection. He was everything I wasn't anymore. Loud, ambitious, always performing. Catherine ate it up. 4 years ago, Velocity Systems moved into a building in downtown Portland. Beautiful space, exposed brick, floor-to-ceiling windows. The kind of place that screams, "We're disrupting everything." What Catherine didn't know, what Vincent didn't know, was that I own that building. Not directly, of course. Through a trust, Cascade Properties, LLC, registered in Delaware, managed by a firm in Denver. The lease was signed by people who never connected the dots between Douglas Whitfield and the portfolio that funded their perfect startup headquarters. Tonight was their annual company party. Catherine insisted I come. "It'll be good for you to get out," she said, which really meant, "I need you there so people know I'm still married." I went, stood in the corner nursing a glass of whiskey I didn't want, watching my wife laugh at Vincent's jokes, touching his arm, leaning in close. Our 3 kids weren't there. Anthony was traveling for work, Claire was finishing her MBA semester, and Noah was at college. Just me, invisible in a room full of people who didn't see me. That's when it happened. I shifted my weight and my wallet slipped from my jacket pocket. It hit the marble floor with a sharp slap, and my building access badge tumbled out, sliding across the polished surface. Before I could move, Vincent was there, bending down with that practiced smile he probably used on investors. He picked up the badge, glanced at it casually, and then froze. Not a pause, a full freeze. His eyes locked on the name embossed on the plastic. D. Whitfield Cascade Properties, owner access. His face went white, actually white, like someone had drained the blood straight from his skull. His hand started shaking, and he looked up at me with an expression I'd never seen on him before. Fear. He stood slowly, holding the badge between 2 fingers like it might explode. The noise of the party faded into background static. Vincent's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Then, in a voice so low only I could hear, he whispered, "Sir, does your wife know who you are?" I held his gaze, didn't smile, didn't frown, just let the silence stretch until it became uncomfortable. Then I reached out, took the badge from his trembling hand, and slipped it back into my wallet. "She knows exactly who I am," I said quietly. "The question is, do you?" Vincent stepped back like I'd shoved him. His eyes darted around the room, looking for an escape, looking for Catherine, looking for anything that made sense. But nothing did anymore because in that moment he realized he'd been playing a game on a board I owned. Catherine appeared at his elbow, champagne in hand, oblivious. "Everything okay?" she asked brightly. Vincent's voice came out strangled. "Fine. Just need to make a call." He practically ran toward the balcony, phone already in his hand. Catherine turned to me, confused. "What was that about?" I took a sip of whiskey. I think Vincent just remembered something important. She narrowed her eyes but didn't push. The music swelled, someone clinked a glass for a toast, and the party rolled on. But something had changed. The foundation had shifted and I hadn't said a word. Catherine was quiet in the car. Not the comfortable silence we used to share 25 years ago, but the kind that sits between two people who've stopped really talking. She scrolled through her phone, double-tapping photos from the party while I drove through Portland's rain-slick streets. "Vincent seemed off tonight," she finally said, not looking up. I kept my eyes on the road. "Did he?" "Yeah, like something spooked him." She glanced at me. "You didn't say anything to him, did you?" "We barely spoke." "Doug." Her tone sharpened. "What happened when he picked up your wallet?" "He returned it, that's all." She went quiet again, but I could feel her studying me. After 30 years of marriage, you learn to read the silences. This one had suspicion in it. We pulled into our driveway in Lake Oswego. The house was dark, empty without the kids. Anthony in Chicago closing a deal, Claire buried in finals at Stanford, Noah still at Boulder. Just us rattling around in 4,800 square feet that used to feel full. Catherine went straight upstairs without saying goodnight. I poured myself a scotch and opened my laptop in the study. 3 emails were already waiting, all marked urgent, all from legal firms I'd never heard of. Vincent worked fast. The first was a request for documentation regarding Cascade Properties' ownership structure. The second asked for clarification on lease terms. The third, from Velocity Systems' general counsel, politely inquired about building access protocols and security badge issuance. I smiled. They were scrambling, trying to figure out if what Vincent saw was real, trying to find an angle, a way out, a loophole. They wouldn't find one. I'd spent 5 years making sure of that. I opened a separate folder on my desktop. Inside were files I'd been collecting for 8 months. Code repositories, commit logs, architecture diagrams, all showing how Velocity Systems' revolutionary platform was built on TechCore's foundation. Catherine had access to everything when we were married, back when I trusted her with my work. She downloaded documentation, saved schematics, kept copies of technical specifications, said she wanted to understand what I'd built. She understood all right, understood it well enough to hand it to Vincent. I found the email chain from 3 years ago. Catherine to Vincent. Attached are the back-end frameworks my husband developed. Could be useful for reference. Vincent's response: "This is gold. Can we schedule a call?" They hadn't stolen code directly. They were too smart for that. They'd reverse-engineered it, rebranded it, wrapped it in a prettier interface, and called it innovation. But the bones were mine. The architecture, the logic patterns, the database structure, all mine. I closed the laptop and walked to the window. Rain drummed against the glass. Somewhere across the city, Vincent was probably still awake, making calls, trying to contain what he'd just discovered. He couldn't contain it. The foundation he'd built his company on wasn't his. It was mine, and I was about to prove it. Upstairs, I heard Catherine's phone buzz. Once, twice, 3 times. Then her footsteps, quick and sharp across the bedroom floor. The calls were starting. I woke at 5:30, same as always. Catherine's side of the bed was empty, sheets cold. I found her in the kitchen already dressed, phone pressed to her ear. She ended the call when she saw me. "Vincent wants a meeting," she said. No good morning, no small talk. "He says it's urgent." I poured coffee, took my time adding cream. "About what?" "He wouldn't say, just that it involves you." Her eyes searched my face. "Doug, what's going on?" "You should ask Vincent." "I'm asking you." I met her gaze over the rim of my cup. "When you gave Vincent my TechCore documentation 3 years ago, did you think I wouldn't find out?" The color drained from her face. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do." I set down the cup. "The back-end frameworks, the database architecture, the API specifications. You emailed them to him, March 2021. Subject line, could be useful for reference." She took a step back. "I was just trying to help. He was struggling with the platform architecture, and I thought..." "You thought you'd hand him 14 years of my work and call it helping?" My voice stayed level, calm. That seemed to unsettle her more than yelling would have. "Did he pay you, or was it just about feeling important?" "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like, Catherine?" She opened her mouth, closed it. Her phone buzzed. Vincent's name on the screen. She didn't answer it. "Velocity Systems built their entire platform on my architecture," I continued. "Every major function, every workflow. They didn't steal code directly, they're too smart for that. But they copied the foundation, rebranded it, and called it innovation. You're paranoid. I have commit logs, code repositories, your email chain with Vincent. I pulled out my phone, showed her the screen. Her own words stared back at her. "This is gold," she'd written. She went pale. "Vincent said it was just inspiration, that we were using it as a reference point. A reference point you never told me about. You weren't interested. You retired, Doug. You walked away. What was I supposed to do? Stop living because you decided to stop building? You were supposed to not give away what I built to someone who'd use it against me." Her phone rang again. Vincent, persistent. This time she answered, walking into the next room. I heard her voice rise, defensive at first, then frightened. When she came back, her hand was shaking. "He's being sued," she whispered. "Some IP firm out of Delaware filed papers this morning. They're claiming patent infringement, stolen architecture, breach of licensing agreements. Vincent thinks you're behind it." "He's right. Doug, you can't do this." "I already did." I rinsed my cup, set it in the sink. The firm represents Cascade Properties, which, as Vincent now knows, is me. The building he's renting, the foundation his company is built on, all of it, mine. This will destroy him. He destroyed himself when he built a company on stolen work. "Our son works there," her voice broke. "Anthony just got promoted. If Velocity Systems goes under, he loses everything." That stopped me. Anthony, 29 years old, sharp as they come, worked his way up from junior analyst to senior strategist in 2 years. He'd been so proud when he got that job. "Anthony's smart," I said quietly. "He'll land on his feet. Not if his father destroys the company he works for." She moved closer. "Please, Doug, think about what this will do to our family." I looked at her. Really looked. The woman I'd married 30 years ago, who'd stood beside me through the early struggles, the sleepless nights building TechCore. Somewhere along the way, she'd stopped being my partner and started being someone I didn't recognize. "I'm thinking about family," I said. "I'm thinking about what you did to ours." Anthony called at noon. I was in my study reviewing documents when his name lit up my screen. "Dad," his voice was tight, controlled. "We need to talk about why my boss just got served with a lawsuit that mentions your name 17 times. I leaned back in my chair. "You read the filing?" "Everyone in the office read it. It's all anyone's talking about." He paused. "Please tell me you're not doing what I think you're doing." "What do you think I'm doing?" "Destroying Velocity Systems because Mom works there." "This isn't about your mother." "Then what is it about? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're blowing up my career to make a point." "It's about intellectual property theft. Vincent Price built his company on architecture I created. Architecture your mother gave him access to without my knowledge or consent." Silence. Then, "Mom did what?" I explained the emails, the documentation, the copied frameworks. Anthony listened without interrupting, which meant he was processing, thinking it through. He'd always been analytical, even as a kid. "How long have you known?" he finally asked. 8 months. "And you didn't tell me. Would you have believed me?" Another pause. "I don't know. Vincent's been good to me, promoted me twice, gave me real responsibility. He's not perfect, but he's not a thief either. He is when he builds a business on someone else's foundation." "Dad, people iterate on existing technology all the time. That's how innovation works. Not when they copy the entire architecture without permission or compensation." I heard him exhale long and slow. "What do you want me to do?" "Nothing. This isn't your fight." "It is, if my job disappears because of it." His voice hardened. "I've worked my tail off for 2 years. I earned this position and now you're going to take it away." "Vincent took it away when he committed IP theft." "No." Anthony's tone turned cold. "You're taking it away because you can't stand that Mom found something you don't control." That hit harder than I expected. This isn't about control. Isn't it? You sold your company, retired, disappeared. Mom moved on. She found work she's good at, people who value her, and you can't handle it. "Anthony, I have to go. Vincent's calling an emergency meeting." The line went dead. Claire called 3 days later. My middle child, 27, getting her MBA at Stanford, the only one of our 3 kids who'd inherited my analytical mind and Catherine's diplomatic touch. I answered on the second ring. "Dad, we need to talk about what you're doing. Anthony called you. Anthony, Mom, and about 6 of Mom's friends who seem to think you've lost your mind." She paused. "Have you?" "Not yet." Then explain to me why you're destroying a company that employs your son and threatening Mom's career. I told her everything. The stolen architecture, the emails, the years of deception. Claire listened without interrupting, which meant she was taking notes. She always took notes when something was important. Okay, she said when I finished. So Mom screwed up massively, and Vincent's a thief. But Dad, there's something you need to know. What? I invested in Velocity Systems, $45,000 from my trust fund last year when they opened their Series B to family and friends of employees. My chest tightened. Claire, Mom told me it was solid, said the company had breakthrough technology and strong fundamentals. I did my due diligence, looked at their financials, their product pipeline. It all checked out. Her voice wavered slightly. I didn't know it was built on your work. Neither did the other investors. How much am I down if the company folds? Everything. $45,000, Dad. That was supposed to be my safety net after graduation. I closed my eyes. Anthony's job, Claire's investment, and Catherine had orchestrated both, putting our children's futures into a company built on stolen foundations. There's more, Claire continued. I've been going through Velocity Systems' public filings for a class project, Dad. Their latest investor presentation shows projected revenue of $200 million over the next 3 years. The valuation is sitting at $450 million. That's impossible. Their platform can't scale that fast. It can if it's built on architecture that's already been proven. Your architecture. She paused. Vincent isn't just using your work. He's betting the entire company's future on it, and he's raising money based on technology he doesn't own. Vincent requested a meeting through his attorney. Neutral ground, a conference room at a downtown law firm. Catherine insisted on coming. I didn't object. We arrived separately. Vincent was already there, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia Kellerman, sat beside him with a stack of folders that probably cost 6 figures to compile. Catherine took the seat across from Vincent. I sat at the head of the table. Thank you for coming, Patricia began. Save it, I said. Vincent can speak for himself. Vincent straightened slightly. Doug, I want to apologize. When Catherine sent me those files, I didn't realize what I was looking at. I thought they were general reference materials. You knew exactly what they were. I knew they were technical documentation. I didn't know they were proprietary architecture covered under licensing agreements. You responded, "This is gold," in your email. That doesn't sound like someone looking at reference materials. He flinched. Poor choice of words. I meant it would help us avoid common mistakes. By copying my exact methodology, Patricia intervened. Mr. Whitfield, my client is prepared to offer substantial compensation. A licensing agreement with retroactive payments, equity in Velocity Systems, and a seat on the board. How substantial? She slid a paper across the table. I glanced at the number. $12 million plus 3% equity. That's what you think my work is worth? $12 million in pocket change. It's a starting point, Patricia said smoothly. We're open to negotiation. Here's my counteroffer. I leaned forward. You shut down Velocity Systems, return all investor capital with interest, and Vincent publicly admits to IP theft. Vincent went pale. That would destroy my reputation. You destroyed it yourself. Doug, please. Catherine's voice cut through. Think about Anthony. Think about Claire's investment. I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking about what it teaches them if their father lets someone steal his life's work without consequences. Vincent spoke up, voice shaking slightly. What if I step down, resign as CEO, give up my equity, publicly state that the company was built on licensed technology from you? We restructure the company with you as the majority owner. You get control, I get nothing, but the company survives. The employees keep their jobs. Your son keeps his career. It was a better offer than I expected. Smart even. Vincent would lose everything, but Velocity Systems would continue under my control. There's one condition, I said. Name it. Catherine resigns immediately. No severance, no equity, no ties to the company. Catherine's head snapped up. What? You enabled this. You gave him the ammunition to build a fraud. You put our children's money and futures into it without telling me. I kept my eyes on Vincent. She leaves, or the company dies. Your choice. Vincent looked at Catherine, then back at me. His face hardened. I can't accept that, he said quietly. Then we're done here. Patricia tried to intervene, but I was already standing. Catherine grabbed my arm. Doug, you can't do this. Watch me. I walked out. Behind me, I heard Vincent's voice, low and defeated. I'll draft the resignation letter. Catherine's response was sharp, angry, but I didn't stay to hear it. I'd won, but somehow it didn't feel like victory. All 3 kids came home the next evening. Anthony from Chicago, Claire from Stanford, Noah from Boulder. I heard them arrive while I was in my study, their voices in the foyer mixing with Catherine's, not warm reunion voices, strategy session voices. We sat in the living room, Catherine by the window, arms wrapped around herself. She looked smaller than I'd seen her in years. Claire set up her laptop on the coffee table. I've spent the last 3 days analyzing Velocity Systems' financials, she said. If you pull the IP claim, every investor loses about 85% of their investment. Anthony opened his folder. The legal team says if you destroy the company through an IP claim after waiting 8 months to enforce it, there's precedent for investors to sue the IP holder for interference. You could be liable for damages. I looked at him. My son, 29 years old, using his business acumen to threaten me. Are you seriously threatening to help investors sue your own father? I'm trying to save you from yourself. He met my eyes. I want you in my life, Dad. But if you destroy the company where I built my career, where I'm planning my future, I don't know if I can have you at my wedding. That hit like a punch to the chest. Noah spoke up. Claire invested 45 grand. That's her entire safety net. I'm a junior in college, and my last name is becoming a joke in business circles. Catherine finally spoke, voice barely above a whisper. I was wrong, Doug. I know that now. I gave Vincent those files thinking I was helping him, not realizing I was stealing from you. It was stupid and selfish, and I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix it. No, but maybe this does? She pulled out papers of her own. I'm giving up my equity in Velocity Systems, all of it, transferring it to you, and I'm resigning effective immediately. Vincent already accepted my resignation letter. I stared at her. When did you do this? This morning after Vincent told me about your meeting. She set the papers on the table. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I won't let my mistake destroy our children's futures. The room was silent. 3 kids watching their parents, waiting to see what would happen next. Claire closed her laptop. Dad, Vincent offered to give you the entire company. Take it. Run it yourself. Put your name on it. Show the world that you built the foundation, but don't destroy it and everyone who depends on it. Including your daughter who invested her life savings, Anthony added. And your son who's building his career, Noah finished. They'd coordinated this, rehearsed their arguments, divided their roles. They were good at this. I'd taught them well. Maybe too well. At dawn, I called my attorney. Draw up the papers, I said. I'm taking Vincent's offer, full ownership transfer. Yes, but add one condition. Catherine's equity gets transferred to Claire. All of it. That's not what Vincent proposed. It's what I'm proposing. Catherine gives up her stake, Claire gets it back plus interest, and I want a public statement from Vincent acknowledging the IP theft. The papers were ready by noon. I called Vincent and told him to meet me at Cascade Properties' main office. Not his territory, not neutral ground. Mine. He arrived with his attorney. Catherine came too, even though I hadn't asked her to. We sat in the conference room overlooking downtown Portland, papers spread across the table. Everything's here, Patricia Kellerman said. Ownership transfer, equity distribution changes, the public statement. Vincent signs, you sign, and Velocity Systems becomes yours. Vincent looked at Catherine. You're really giving up everything? It's the right thing to do, Catherine said quietly. Your wife's equity goes to Claire, I told Vincent. Her investment gets paid back tenfold when this company succeeds. Consider it restitution. Vincent nodded slowly. Fair enough. Anything else? One more thing. I slid a final document across the table. This is a termination letter for you. Vincent's face went white. You said if I signed, I could stay on as advisor. I lied. I kept my voice level. You built a company on stolen work, lied to investors, and manipulated my wife into being complicit. You don't get to walk away with a consulting gig and a golden parachute. You get nothing but your name on a public admission of fraud. Patricia started to object, but Vincent raised his hand. It's fine. He looked at me, something like respect in his eyes. I deserve it. Yes, you do. He signed every page, every clause, every admission. When he was done, he stood and offered his hand. I didn't take it. My son works for me now, I said. Anthony Whitfield. Make sure he's treated well under the new management. Your son? Vincent's face registered surprise, then understanding. I didn't know. He shouldn't have to. He earned his position. He did. He's one of the best strategists we have. Vincent paused at the door. For what it's worth, Doug, I really did think the work was abandoned. That doesn't excuse what I did, but I didn't set out to steal from you. Yes, you did. You just didn't think I'd notice. He left without another word. Catherine stood. What happens now? Now you move out. I'll have my attorney draw up separation papers. Doug, 30 years. We had 30 good years. Then you chose career advancement over our marriage. I could forgive a lot of things, but not that. She nodded, eyes wet. The kids will understand. Eventually, I softened slightly. I'm not keeping them from you, but I can't live with someone who valued career over family. She left quietly. No arguments, no tears, just acceptance. 6 months later, Velocity Systems was running smoother than it ever had under Vincent. I had restructured operations, brought in new management, and started steering the company toward legitimate innovation instead of borrowed brilliance. Anthony stayed on, got another promotion, and slowly started speaking to me again. Claire's investment had already doubled in value. Noah came home for Thanksgiving. Catherine moved to a condo downtown. We'd signed divorce papers 3 weeks after the ownership transfer. 30 years of marriage ended with signatures and a handshake from lawyers. She didn't fight for alimony, didn't contest the settlement, just took what was fair and left quietly. I was in my office at Velocity Systems when my receptionist buzzed. Mr. Whitfield, there's someone here to see you. She says it's personal. Who? Her name is Margaret Coleman. Says it's about Jennifer Stone. The name hit me like cold water. Jennifer, my college girlfriend, the one I'd loved before Catherine came along. We'd broken up when I moved to Portland for a startup job. Lost touch completely. Send her in. The woman who walked through my door was about 54, well-dressed, carrying herself with the confidence of someone who'd fought battles and won. She had dark hair streaked with gray and eyes that looked familiar. Mr. Whitfield, thank you for seeing me without an appointment. I don't think we've met. We haven't, but we have a connection you don't know about. She sat without being invited. 30 years ago, you dated a woman named Jennifer Stone. You were together for 2 years before you met Catherine. What about Jennifer? I asked carefully. Jennifer was my sister. She passed away 4 years ago. Cancer. I'm sorry, I didn't know. No reason you would. You two hadn't spoken in decades. She opened her purse, pulled out an envelope. Before she died, Jennifer gave me this, made me promise to deliver it if I ever had the chance. I took the envelope, my name in handwriting I barely remembered. She also asked me to tell you something. Margaret met my eyes. You have a son. His name is Richard Stone. He's 30 years old. The room tilted. What? Jennifer found out she was pregnant 3 weeks after you moved to Portland. She tried to call you, but your number had changed. She wrote letters, but you'd moved apartments. Margaret's voice softened. Then she saw an announcement in a tech magazine. You and Catherine, newly engaged. She decided not to interfere. She was pregnant with my child and didn't tell me? She tried, Doug, but you moved on. And she didn't want to be the woman who trapped you with a baby when you'd found someone else. My hands were shaking. Why are you telling me this now? Because Richard deserves to know his father. And because Jennifer's dying wish was that you two meet. Margaret stood. He doesn't know I'm here. Doesn't know I tracked you down. But he knows about you. Jennifer told him everything before she passed. Where is he? Portland. He's a software engineer. Works for a cybersecurity firm. Smart kid. Has your eyes. Jennifer's determination. She handed me a business card. That's his email and phone number. Whether you reach out is up to you. She left before I could ask more questions. I sat there holding the envelope and the business card. A son. I had another son, 30 years old, who'd grown up without me. 8 months later, Anthony stood at the altar in a vineyard outside Portland. Amanda beside him in a dress that cost more than my first car. The ceremony was beautiful, traditional, everything a wedding should be. Catherine sat 3 rows behind me with her new boyfriend. We'd exchanged polite nods before the ceremony. Nothing more. Noah sat to my left, Claire to my right, and on Claire's other side, Richard Stone, my son, meeting his half-siblings for the first time at a wedding. It had taken 3 months of phone calls before Richard agreed to meet me in person. Coffee in downtown Portland, awkward and tentative. He looked like Jennifer, but he had my jawline and my hands. We talked for hours about his childhood, his mother, the questions he'd always had. I told him about TechCore, about building something from nothing, about how I wished I'd known. He didn't forgive me. Not right away, but he didn't shut me out either. She made me promise not to contact you, he'd said that day. Mom said you had your own family, your own life. She didn't want to complicate it. He looked at me across that coffee shop table. I'm not looking for a father, Doug. I'm 30. I raised myself. But I'm willing to get to know the man who gave me half my DNA. That was 8 months ago. Since then, we'd talked every week. He'd met Claire first, then Noah. Anthony had been harder to convince, still processing everything that had happened with Velocity Systems and his parents' divorce. But eventually, he'd agreed to meet his older half-brother. Now they were all here at Anthony's wedding, a family reassembled from broken pieces. Later, as the party wound down, Anthony found me. His tie was loose, jacket gone, the happiest I'd seen him in years. Thanks for coming, Dad. Wouldn't have missed it. I mean it. After everything that happened, I wasn't sure you'd show up. He glanced toward Richard, who was talking with Noah. Or that you'd bring him. He's your brother. Anthony shook his head. Our family's complicated. Most families are. Yeah, but ours is like a tech startup. Failed first version, massive pivot, and now we're trying to scale the rebuild. He smiled. Think we'll make it? I think we'll try. That's all anyone can do. He hugged me, quick and tight, then went back to his bride. I left soon after, driving home alone to the house that used to hold a family. Claire had moved to San Francisco for a job. Noah was back at Boulder. Anthony had his own life now. But I had Richard's number in my phone. Velocity Systems was thriving under my leadership, and somewhere in the city, Catherine was building a new life too. I'd won the war against Vincent, lost my marriage, found a son I never knew existed, and somehow ended up with a family that looked nothing like the one I'd planned, but felt more honest than anything I'd built before. 14 months ago, I dropped a badge at a company party. That single moment had unraveled everything and rebuilt it into something I didn't recognize. But standing in my quiet house, looking at photos of 4 children instead of 3, I realized something. Sometimes you have to burn the foundation to discover what's really holding you up. And sometimes that's exactly what you need. The truth is, we spend our lives building walls around ourselves, thinking we're protecting what matters most. But real strength isn't in the walls we build, it's in knowing when to tear them down and start over with something better.